So yeah, for everybody that's here, we're talking about the USMCA, of course, the historical angle of it. We've talked about, so I just want to do a little recap if you're just joining me or if you weren't here, which I've covered this particular segment before. It's a historic document. It was to replace the the um, the TPP and probably another document. But I'm saying that there are infringements here. This is a bit of a Trojan horse, and I think everybody should be concerned. You know, at what cost, are we doing, these trade agreements? Specifically, we've talked about the infringement, we've talked about accountability, we've talked about the migrants, we've talked about the social protections, we've talked about many things that this particular agreement is going to open up. So I have done a previous stream on this document before. As I mentioned earlier, this document is 2,300, it's over 2,300 pages long. And what does that document sound like? It sounds like the Obama's Health Care Act is what that sounds like. No one, I mean, I don't know who advises the president on these things, but to me this is a bit of a letdown because there are so many infringements in that particular document. There's accountability issues, there's a migrants issue, there are social protections in this issue. It looks like it's a win for the Democrats if you actually go through it. It does look like something that Barack Obama engineered. It really does. Like I mentioned previously, the infringement part this is not going to be, the American people aren't going to be making decisions or voting on the measures in this document. It's a huge bureaucratic measure. It's going to be an appointed committee. It's basically a globalist committee that's going to be dealing with this. It's a free trade commission overseeing various lower regional committees. Like the TPP commission, they can make changes to the USMCA without the consent of Congress. Section 8, the power to regulate trade with foreign nations. And here we go on, this is consistent with other globalist schemes. The USMCA follows a rules-based system, a submission to international bodies such as the World Trade Organization, International Organization, and a plethora of United Nations conventions, including the Law of Sea Treaty, which the U.S. has never ratified. And a furtherance of a sustainable development. Yes, the sustainable development is a part of the UN Agenda 2030. And so here it is. This is another build-up or ushering in, to me, of the New World Order. A one world government is the risk also of American sovereignty. So there's a lot at stake here. For one, here again, I'm going to go into just a little bit, in terms of the bill is not only filled with these codes and statutes, these protections that protect LGBTQ, and God knows how much expansion they're going to do on that. How many perversions are they going to go after for the LGBTQ protections? That is also the the Equality Act that hasn't even been voted on. There's a lot at stake in this document. It's a fully loaded document, and I can't believe that, I'm not convinced that anybody read it. It's over 2,300 pages long. Hi, Killer Well. Thank you for being here. It's over 2,300 pages long. I think there's a limit. There's no limit of how many illegal immigrants that can be here to work. So there again, you're right back. You just keep looping right back into this whole New World Order, open border situation. If there's no limit to how many illegal immigrants that can come here to work, well, there you go. That's an open border situation. Are they going to ask anybody to go back if they decide to leave or if the job crashes? You see, this is what I'm talking about. The protections. That's a protection for, you can come here to work whether you're legal or not. I just think that that's huge. And more than that, as I was saying previously, that this whole bureaucracy, the appointed committee is not going to be managed by the American Congress. It's going to be managed by a TPP, an actual European Trade Commission. It's not going to be managed. It's a free trade commission, much like the TPP. They can make changes to this USMCA without the consent of Congress. So how American is that? It's not. I mean, it sounds good. And, above all, they want to tout, okay, yeah, it's an election season. Yeah, true enough. But then the bipartisanship part of it, bipartisanship is less American sovereignty than it is, it's not pro-American sovereignty. It's not. I mean, we still have rhinos working with President Trump. To me, bipartisanship to me, or how can we be bipartisan with people that have communist measures and, tyrannical things that they're trying to take away. They're trying to take away American liberties and American sovereignties all day long. How can we tout bipartisanship with a party with that many divisions, and a party that wants to have open borders and not prosecute? I mean, Joe Biden's touted that he's not going to consider drunk driving a crime anymore if illegals commit, if somebody's, killed in an accident. He's getting ready to swipe that away, to scrub that as a crime. So I just think that, this is a vulnerable spot that we've just entered. And it may take some time to see it, but, I just think that, the Democrats have a different view for America. And it's not American. It's not an American, it's not a sovereign nation. It's not protecting American sovereignty with what they actually want to do. I mean, this bill was in a holding pattern for many months. It sat dormant. It sat stagnant. So I figured, okay, well, maybe somebody's actually reading this thing, because there's a lot to unpack, and it's a lot of un-American unpacking that needs to be done in this particular situation. So here again, of course we want our economy to grow, and we want to have a sustainable economy, but at what cost? At what cost? And what? We have people all over the world that are, that want to, shave off American sovereignty, and the globalists have a win today. The CFR, the Council for Foreign Trade Relations, that's a win for them. It's a win for them to be able to have people in and out of this country, regardless as to what their status is. And it's going to be more difficult. This whole thing is basically what has happened in Europe. All of these things that are not American has basically flattened their economies, flattened their growth, and they were never free to begin with. So of course, anybody that's an immigrant here, or legal or illegal, they think it's fine because they've never had the freedoms that Americans have had. They can't miss something that they've never had, but we certainly can. As American sovereigns, we certainly will know the difference when our sovereignties are lost. And we have a lot of globalists. We have a lot of people that are all in the tank for the climate change. A lot of people are thinking they're going to be profitable on that, and that's why they're able to make these decisions, because they're all getting a kickback. There's private and public partnerships that are not representing the people. So these are just my comments, and I've seen the bill myself. I've left a link in a previous stream, previous post and video, and I will be sure to do that for you today. But like I said, I don't know. This all sounds good, but I really hope that this isn't going to, with all the things that are going on, for instance, in China right now, are we going to be at risk of tanking? Is it going to pull us down when something goes on because we're so deep. The scope is so deep on this whole bill. It's huge. So you can either find ustr.gov, you can find the doc there, also the jbs.org. You can find the document there. I mean, like I said, you can read. It's a huge document. I'm not saying, you may not want to have your coffee with it, but it's there for you to see. And there's been many measures for people to say, hey, reach out to your senators and tell them, like, please. At one point we were at the please read the USMCA. We went from that to stop the USMCA. So I don't know where we can go now. And even more treacherous than that, with Nancy Pelosi saying that in her press conference that that the president is signing something different than what he sent, based on one of their chairmen, Richie Neal. They got what they wanted. To me, it's more of a win for the globalists and for the Democrats. And I do think it's going to serve their interest in the long haul if they are ever to regain power. This is one that slipped through the cracks. So I just wanted to, kind of put that out there. And like I said, let me know what your comments or concerns are. Let me know what they are. But, this has taken the power out of our hands as a nation and out of our elected officials. We already have, some compromises and some vulnerabilities with them. But then with this document, with this being, one of the beauties of our government is that our county and city seats are closest to us, and that's where our power is, the closer it is to us. Well, when you go from city to county, you have some power there, and then the further you go up, it's harder to control that power that's at the top. That's why most conservatives are not about, top-down government, because those offices and measures are much further away. But can you imagine, now we're going to go from top down, from bottom up on the city county level to federal, which we had a tough time reaching, but now we're going to go to an international bureaucracy or an international level. That's not American. That's out of our government. That's not American government. And that means it's out of the American people's hands. So we don't have a say in what changes. So to me, that's like it's all four of those points that I made. That means all of that could change. The infringements, the migrants, the social protections, all of that could totally backfire, like, to me, at any second. So, don't mean to crash and burn your Wednesday, but it's definitely, something to think about. And I don't know about you, but you can maybe still try to reach out to senators or your representatives in your area to, I don't know if it's set in stone, which there are some areas, like I guess it's the Merity or the commercial, not the commercial kind of laws. There's some things that I think in there that are not ratified. That's probably going to be like the only thing that's going to maybe hold off some of it, that's going to stifle some of it. But it's also going to be, it's going to be infringing on our Constitution, which people are stomping on like crazy every day. So I guess we better prepare for a new world order wherever we can. And I appreciate everybody for joining me for the segment. And I was happy that I was able to give you some of the footage if you are just able to listen. If you were just able to listen today and not be able to tune in. So once again, I appreciate everybody, and I hope you have a great Wednesday, and I will see you next time on Black Spring with Autumn.